Hi guys, welcome back to another video with me at The Aspiring Home Cook. Today we're going to whip up one of my favorite recipes, these beautiful Goan beef cutlets. So here's what you're going to need to make your beef cutlets. Half kilo beef mince, 1 large onion finely chopped, about 2 tablespoons or thereabouts of fresh coriander leaves and stalks finely chopped, 2 red birdseye chillies finely chopped. Now the heat level, you can adjust that to your liking. We happen to like a little spice in our food, so we've used 2 chilies. You can reduce that to 1 if you'd like. You're going to need about, I'd say 4 cloves of garlic finely chopped, half an inch of ginger finely chopped, 1/4 teaspoon turmeric powder, half to 1 teaspoon Kashmiri chili powder. Now, Kashmiri chili powder is known for its color. It is a very mild variant of chili that just adds vibrance and a subtle heat to the dish. You're also going to need about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper powder, an egg, some panko breadcrumbs, 2 slices of bread, some Worcestershire sauce, and salt to taste. Now, in addition to this, we're also going to need a little oil to fry the cutlets in. So let's go ahead and see how the cutlets come together. Let's start with the slices of bread. Now, the slices of bread are going to help you bind that batter together along with the egg that's going into the cutlet batter. So we're going to start off by actually soaking these slices of bread in some water to begin with. So the bread slices have been submerged in water, and I'm going to set that aside just for a minute. Let's start with the cutlet mix. This is half a kilo beef mince in here. To that, we're going to add the onion, the chili, and the fresh coriander. Again, remember, there is no real order that you need to follow here. You're just tipping in all of the ingredients into that bowl with the beef mince. Your ginger and garlic that has been finely chopped, turmeric powder, red chili powder, black pepper powder, a good crack of salt. Remember that in addition to the meat, you're also going to have some bread and breadcrumbs in there. But that being said, keep in mind salt is always to taste. Now, into the bowl, you're going to crack the egg. Worcestershire sauce is not a typical ingredient you'd find in beef cutlet, but I find it adds a lot of flavor to your cutlets. So in goes about 2 teaspoons worth. Now remember, you don't want this batter too wet. If it's too wet, it's going to fall apart. You're going to have to add more bread to balance that out, or some breadcrumbs in there, and that's going to somewhat dilute the flavor of these cutlets. So all that's gone in there, and we're going to give this a real good mix now. The best tools in the kitchen are your hands, so just get stuck in there. Break up that beef mince and make sure that all the ingredients mix together and are incorporated well. Alright, so that looks like it's been mixed through. Now we're going to add the bread to this bowl. Do you remember the bread slices that we had soaked? You're going to pull that out of the water and squeeze all of the water from the bread. You don't want any liquid in there. Once you've gotten all the moisture and water out of the bread, you're going to just crumble that into the bowl with the rest of the ingredients for your cutlets. The smaller the pieces you can crumble that into, the better it will incorporate. You need to make sure that the bread has been soaked thoroughly in that water, otherwise you're going to find big chunks of bread in your batter, and you'll actually see those chunks of bread once your cutlets are fried and once you bite into them. And that's not what we're going for. All right, and finally one last mix with the bread in there. Don't be afraid, you're not going to break anything, you're not going to destroy anything. If the onions or some of the other ingredients get a little bruised while you're mixing everything together, that's even better, because that will release some more flavor into your cutlets. And that looks like it's done, except for that little piece of bread. There you go. What you're looking for in terms of consistency is for the batter to hold itself together when you try and form it into a cutlet. All right, so now that your batter is done, let's go ahead, shape these cutlets and fry them up as well. To cook these cutlets off, you're going to heat a large pan over medium-high heat. In that pan goes a tablespoon's worth of olive oil. Once that's warm, we're going to start frying our cutlets. Let's have a look at how to shape those cutlets now and get them ready for the pan. Now, to shape your cutlets, take a portion of that cutlet batter and using your palms, you're going to roll that into a ball. What this does is it smooths out the edges so that you don't have a very crumbly cutlet at the end of the cooking process. Once that looks like it is fairly smooth, like a large meatball, you're going to start shaping it. Flatten it down. You can keep it round, you can make it oval. It's your cutlet, you decide the shape. And you're going to tidy up the edges using your thumb. I know there's a lot of different methods used for the shaping process, but this is what I find easiest, and this is the only way I make my cutlets. You want to make sure that the center of your cutlet is not like a mound. In fact, try and make it a little thinner than the rest of it, like a little bit. I just use my fingers and press that center down a little. That's just to ensure that the center of the cutlet cooks through as well. Once you're happy with the shape, you're going to dip that in those crumbs. Now, I've used panko breadcrumbs, which is a Japanese version of breadcrumbs. It's a little bigger. The crumbs are a little bigger in size than the regular breadcrumbs. But if you don't have that at hand, you can simply use any breadcrumbs that you have in the kitchen. Once it's been coated on both sides with the breadcrumbs, you're going to place that on your pan. And we're going to continue the process with the rest of the cutlet batter. So once again, you're going to roll that using your palms into a large meatball. Flatten that down, and you're going to tidy up the edges. Coat both the sides in breadcrumbs, and in it goes into a hot pan. So I'm going to continue shaping and frying the rest of the cutlets, and I'll see you again in a bit. Now, I've got my first batch of cutlets in the pan frying away. If you're making this recipe for the first time and it's hard for you to gauge how much salt you need to put in that beef mix, I would recommend shaping just one cutlet first, frying it off, wait for it to cool a tiny bit, and taste that cutlet. If you think you need to add more salt, you can go ahead, add that to the batter, and then continue with shaping and frying the rest of the cutlets. How do you know when your cutlets are done? You will slowly see that right over here on the edges, the cutlets have started changing color. We're now going to lift the first one we put in there, and you can see that it's turned a beautiful shade of crispy golden brown. Yes, that's the color. You can tell if something's crispy by the shade of brown. So you're going to flip that over and repeat that with the rest of the cutlets. Do this gently because your cutlets can actually break apart if you're too rough with them. Since these two went in last, I'm just going to give them another minute or so before I flip them. What you're looking for now is this same color on the second side. Once you've got a nice crisp brown edge on both sides of the cutlets, you're ready to take them off the pan and they're basically ready to serve. So I'm going to finish frying the rest of the cutlets now. And when they're nicely browned on both sides, take them off the pan and you're ready to serve. You can serve these up with a little tomato ketchup or barbecue sauce, or even make them a little bigger and use them as patties and burgers. Now let's have a look at what the inside looks like. I'm just going to show you how these beautiful patties are speckled with that coriander and the chili and onion. It's delicious and I do hope you give it a try. That's it for now, guys. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for new video recipes. I'll see you soon. Bye now.